Welcome to Learn to Snatch. We'll start off with our warm-up, standing on top of our lightest kettlebell, hinging at the hips, looking up at the horizon. Find the handle of the bell and come to standing. Inhale and exhale. Just take a moment to ground your feet, to lengthen through your spine. Feel your shoulders gently packing down your back. Breath in and breath out. Then when you're ready, we'll start to around the world, passing the kettlebell around your body, hand to hand, breathing and getting some momentum so that you can get this bell around your body. Let's do 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stall the kettlebell, pass it the opposite direction, about 20 times, a little bit less, just warming things up. Woo. And sometimes you might not pass the kettlebell from hand to hand. Almost dropped it there. Let's do 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stall the kettlebell. Bend your elbows up your back. Look up at the horizon. Bend your knees a bit and widen the feet as though you're about to kettlebell swing. We'll practice that foot position, the one we use when we're swinging our kettlebell. So a little bit turned out in the feet, bit of bend in the knees, but not too much. The shoulders are still higher than the hips, and the hips are higher than the knees. We call this the good morning stretch, the strong first world. And then I'll teach you one new mobility drill called the halo. So you'll want something very light for this, 6 kilograms, 4 or even less if this is the first time you've done this. You'll scoop it up upside down, so you're flipping your elbows forwards, and then bicep curl to your chest. Pull it in right to your chest so that you're hugging it in. Then bring the kettlebell to one shoulder, behind the head, to the other shoulder, and in front. Continue that 4 more times. Back behind you, to the other shoulder, and in front. Here's 3, and then you can smooth that out, connecting the dots on the last couple. Sturdy torso. Only thing that's moving is your shoulders and your arms. You're going the other direction now, in front, side, behind, other side. Here's 3. Breathing and trying not to dodge your head to around the kettlebell. We're just keeping everything neutral as we move the kettlebell around our head, not our head around the kettlebell. Bicep curl down and park to the floor. Repeat that same warm-up up to 3 times using a lighter bell, maybe upgrading to a bit heavier to really get yourself warmed up for this workout. And then we're going to start with some kettlebell passes. So I'm selecting my next lightest bell now. So the bell I call light is an 8 kilogram bell, 18 pounds. Something about that weight is good if you're brand new to kettlebells and one-arm kettlebell swings, because before we were using 2 hands, now we're using 1 arm at a time. So we want half the weight that we would have with a 2-handed kettlebell swing. So split that weight in half, whatever you're using for 2 hands, and then use the bell size that is half that weight or thereabouts. You're going to put it in front of you, and I'll go and then you can go. We're going to practice passing the kettlebell from hand to hand right away. Oftentimes it's a really nice way to learn the kettlebell swing. And so we'll hip hinge, find the kettlebell handle. That other hand is free for a moment. We're packing the shoulder back. We hike and pass. 2 and 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to park. So then I use 2 hands to park. So just give this a go. I'll count it for you. You're thinking about not rotating. We don't want to rotate too much when we're passing, but there will be a little bit of that. Just try not to really rotate in your kettlebell swing. So passing it from hand to hand, hinging at the hips, look up at the horizon, hands on bell, 3, 2, 1, hike, swing, and 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to park. So you're passing it each time. If that didn't happen, you can try it again. I'll show you again. You're just switching from hand to hand, passing it between hands. And depending on the size of your kettlebell, this is why we like this nice big window to give room for your hands. I'll go again, hinging at the hips, pulling back. One arm, here we go. Hike. So I'm squeezing my glutes, I'm bracing my abs, brace, engage, so that we're feeling firm at the top of the kettlebell swing, packing the shoulders back. And I'll show you from the side the next time, but here you go. Hinge at the hips, look up at the horizon, hands on bell, 3, 2, 1, hike and swing, and pass, and 3, and pass, and 5, and pass, and 7, and 8, 9, and 10 to park. Use 2 hands to park or intentionally 1 hand. That's a personal preference. And it'll also depend on the weight of the kettlebell. If it's lighter, you'll be able to handle the 1 hand, no problem, as you should, because now we're going to work on the 1-arm kettlebell swing. So the 1-arm kettlebell swing is like it sounds, a 1 arm. And again, we're trying not to rotate the body, but we're pulling back with the arm. And same as the 2-handed swing, but we're trying to even things out. And all of that weight of the 1 kettlebell is in the 1 arm, but it's never really in our arm. We're using the hips to catch the weight of the kettlebell. So we should never be lifting the kettlebell with our arm. It's always propelled with the hips. You can, at the top, you can use an uppercut or a touch. I'm going to show you the uppercut first, and I'm going to do my first arm. Here I go. Hike, swing, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to park. Okay, so that's what that looks like. I'll let you go with your first arm. You can test out that uppercut. The uppercut is nice because it helps us really lock into this vertical plank position. Hands on bell, look up at the horizon, hinge in the hips. 3, 2, 1, hike and swing. 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, and 10 to park. Okay, note how that felt and note what bell you were using. Always a great idea to write things down so that when you come back the next time, you know what you were doing. I'm going to do the other side right off the hop. Here I go. Hike. And I just like to park with 2 hands as a habit, to practice that habit of using both hands. So I recommend it. Try with your other arm now, and you're floating the kettlebell no higher than collarbone height. It should really be floating between your belly button and your chest, and it floats because you're propelling it with your hips. All right, looking up at the horizon, hinge at the hips, hands on bell, 3, 2, 1, hike and swing. 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to park. Okay, putting that down. I said hands, I meant hand on bell, just that one hand. And how did that feel? Did you like the uppercut? I really like the uppercut. I will show you now the alternative, which is just a measuring out of the distance of the kettlebell, which some people really like as well. And I'll show you from the side. I wanted to show you from the front so that you could see that the kettlebell is going through this little window between the knees and the hips. So same thing from the side. I'm going to do just 5 this time. First arm, hike. I did 6 and park it down. So I'm just gently measuring and tapping with that second arm, trying not to rotate too much, but it's kind of similar to that passing of the kettlebell handle, and so you might enjoy it. You're going to do 10. Tripod stance, look up at the horizon, hinge at the hips, hand on bell. 3, 2, 1, hike and swing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to park. All right, and I'll show from the other side now, just so you can see what my arm is doing. I'm doing my best not to rotate. I'm doing my best to pack the shoulder. I'll just do about 5 or 6, and then you'll go. Feet planted. Here I go. Okay, so I'm just measuring that out. It's as though I'm about to pass it hand to hand, but it gets you a really good sense of where your shoulders are squaring at the top of the movement. So that can be really nice. Give it a go. Tripod stance, hinge at the hips, look up at the horizon. 3, 2, 1, hike and swing. 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to park. Awesome. Okay, put that down, shake that off. Repeat this section as many times as you need to before you move on to the kettlebell snatch portion of this session. So now you're ready to work on your kettlebell snatch. We'll start off with the high pull, which I use as a teaching tool to learn about this vertical plank and reinforce a bent elbow. Because now that we're snatching, we're bending our elbow, bending our wrist, and straightening our arm up and overhead. And on the same thing on the way down, we bend our wrist, our elbow, and pull the kettlebell in close to the body. So you could try this with me, pulling up as though you have a stick. You could even get a stick, pull up in, scraping your face with the stick if you have one, and then coming back up and overhead. And then you curl the wrist. So we tip the kettlebell off of our wrist, send it off the cliff down like a waterfall down close to our body, just kind of grazing the edges of our face and going straight down to the floor. So this is the kettlebell snatch in the hardstyle world. And we'll start off with the high pull so that you can get a sense of this bent elbow and all the work you need to do to stop the kettlebell here. You have to really grip the kettlebell here and really bend the elbow, really squeeze the glutes, etc. So use your lightest kettlebell to start. Even your mobility sized one is good. I'm going to demo with my 6 kilogram bell today. So we're looking up at the horizon. We hike back and then we pause that kettlebell in this high pull position. It's not an actual move, but we use it as a training tool. Grip and park. Okay, give that a go with your lightest kettlebell and see how it goes. So you're hiking back and you're pausing the kettlebell at the top of the movement, really bent elbows. The hands are higher than the elbows, and they're about at ear height, more or less. And it'll kind of depend on the weight of the kettlebell and a few other factors. I'll do a couple on my other side. High pull, grip, grip, hinge at the hips, trying to lead with the hips and let the knees just follow. You don't want to bend the knees too much. So that's my left side. Give your left side a go, or your non-dominant side a go. Just about 5 or 6 high pulls, hiking back, pull and grip the handle of the bell so that it pauses and it's just kind of facing forward. The handle is straight and the bell is kind of floating here. Can't show it in slow motion, well, maybe a little bit. Okay, so see how that felt. And then we'll take the kettlebell and place it up and overhead. So back in the intro to kettlebell videos, I have a learn to, or test your kettlebell carries. So you can test your kettlebell carries and learn this clean to the front rack position and the overhead position. You'll get it up there, and from that overhead position, you'll adjust your hand into the center of the handle of the bell. Okay, try to lock out your arm, feel your vertical plank, and just feel that position first and foremost. If you can't get your arm straight here, then you might want to wait until you work on your snatches. You'll push the kettlebell down and push it through so that it falls straight down to the floor. So you're pushing it, you're bending your elbow, and then it should spin through the center of the handle. Give that a go on the second side, hand in the center of the handle of the bell. Give it a little push, catch it with your hips, and let it fall, bringing it in close to the body. So that's the drop, and you could try that one more time on each side with a light bell. Good to try it with a heavy bell too. And then we'll go with our dead stop kettlebell swing, where we hike back and go all the way up. So this is very light for me, so it flopped around. It's actually easier for me to demonstrate it with a heavier bell. But then we're up here and we hike it and park. Give that a go with your light kettlebell, a dead stop. So you hike it back, pull it in, bring it up and overhead. You can lock out for a brief moment at the top and then let it fall back and down. Make sure that you hip hinge on the way down. I'll show you from the other side, the full dead stop, kettlebell snatch. Hike. It's so light for me, and so it flops around. Give that a go on your other side. Hike back, pull in, go up and overhead. Brief moment in that lockout position, and then let it fall. Catch at the hips and park it down. Okay, I'm gonna get out something a little bit heavier. We'll try the continuous swing. As I'm showing you here, you can pause and give those again another try. I'm gonna go up a little bit in weight to my 8 kilogram and try 5 dead stop swings, but in a continuous fashion. So I'll hike back, go up, go back and down. So really practicing that hip hinge. And I'm gonna go again, hike, up, hike, and down. I'm gonna go just one more time, hike, up, back, and down. So 3 with the next size bell in the dead stop fashion will help you learn the movement, get a little bit more feedback. That was definitely better for me, even with just this 8 kilogram bell, 18 pounds. I'm gonna try 3 on the left. Parking it down each time to give yourself a moment to figure this out. And this is the moment that you might want chalk for your hands. You'll definitely feel the kettlebell handle maybe sticking to your hands. Give that a go on your second side if you haven't already. Kettlebell dead stop snatch. Feeling your posture at the top and that super bent elbow. We want to keep it close to the body. And just going down by the sides of the body, but not too close to your head, just over top of your shoulder. And I'm going to get something just slightly heavier. So you might want to try a few with a slightly heavier and then go back to a lighter. It's always good to get some information from the heavier bell, and then try it with lighter when you're doing it continuous. I'm going to show you 5 continuous kettlebell snatches. Pulling it back, hike, up, 2, 3. Oh yeah, so that was my 10 kilogram bell, 22 pounds. It's about right for me at this moment, to at least give me more information to really lock myself into position. So give that a go 5 times with a reasonable bell, nothing too crazy, just at this moment probably. 5 kettlebell snatches. And just figuring it out as you go. It's a little bit of trial and error. So if you're not quite getting it, don't worry. One thing I often see is a lot of twisting and turning. We just want the kettlebell to flip through straight. So just sort of like this. The kettlebell will be spinning straight. There's no twisting or turning of the handle. I often see that. I mean, if it works, it works, but it's much more efficient to let it just go straight in a spinning, just like it's tumbling down like a snowball tumbling down the hill. Okay, did I do the left side? I think I'm going to do the left side now. Here I go 5 times. 1, 2, 3. Sliding through the hands. So it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of hip drive, core work, pulling, grip, and it should feel like that. That's why it's the czar of the kettlebell swings in the kettlebell world. Give that a go on your second side. 2, you're doing about 5. And I know you'll have lots of questions about this, but honestly, practice and experience will help you develop the technique for this. There's a couple other things, so I'll do another set to remind myself of a couple of the other things that often come up when someone's learning the kettlebell snatch. I'll do 5 on the right. And so I remembered, it's what to do with the second arm. So the second arm, watch some videos, strong first, hard style ideally, for the kettlebell snatch, if you're interested in wanting to know what to do with your other hand. But I've worked on this for a long, long time, and it's just my own personal way of using my other hand. A lot of people like to do a similar thing with their second hand, but maybe you weren't even thinking about it yet. So don't think about it too much. Do a few more, and I'm going to do a few more too on my second side. So you saw maybe that one if you weren't doing your own. This one, and you can rewind it, I just did the uppercut. Also a great way to, especially when you're new to the snatch, just want to give your other arm a job because it's highly asymmetrical, of course. Both glutes are working. I mean, it should be quite symmetrical in a lot of ways, but it is a big movement. And I would recommend, before we end today, doing at least 3 with a heavier bell, something even heavier than you've been using, if it's appropriate. If you're kind of done for today, that is totally cool, but just make sure that at some point you come back and do at least 1 dead stop or continuous, 3 continuous, heavier kettlebell snatches. So I'll do that for you now. I'll do 3 on my right and 3 on the left. Hike. And I'm going to go right away to the left. I'm parking it down, and then I'm going to the left. Actually have a different technique on right and left, so that could be similar for you. Try 1 to 3 per side, left and right. Don't think about it too much. Pull in, lock out at the top, bend the elbow, bend the wrist, hinge at the hips, park it down. All these little pieces of the puzzle. It's lots of core. It's a great cardio movement. It's one of my favorites for cardio, sprint interval training. So give that a go and put it away for today. Don't overdo it. Each time you come back, this will get better, and you can return to this video, rinse and repeat it as many times as you like. I'm recommending at least 2 weeks with each of these skills, and then you can move on and start practicing in the Core 4 section of the video library. Okay, let's take a moment. Let's come to a wall and cool things down. Let's look down at your feet. If you don't have a wall, you can lie on the floor, come up against a door, or just stand in the middle of your room. Smooth exhales. Long exhales. And stay for longer if you wish, integrating all of the great work you did today. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, keep strong, kettlebell on.